Our daily Bible reading for March 15th. Our reading today comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1. Luke chapter 1, we'll begin reading in verse 1 down through verse 25. Inasmuch as many have undertaken to compile a narrative of the things that have been accomplished among us, just as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word have delivered them to us. It seemed good to me also, having followed all things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus, that you may have certainty concerning the things you have been taught. In the days of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah of the division of Abijah, and he had a wife from the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth, and they were both righteous before God, walking blamelessly in all commandments and statutes of the Lord. But they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and both were advanced in years. Now while he was serving as priest before God, when his division was on duty, according to the custom of the priesthood, he was chosen by lot to enter the temple of the Lord and burn incense. And the whole multitude of the people were praying outside at the hour of incense. And there appeared to him an angel of the Lord, standing on the right side of the altar of incense. Zechariah was troubled when he saw him, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard, and your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you shall call his name John. And you will have joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth, for he will be great before the Lord. And he must not drink wine or strong drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit, even from his mother's womb. And he will turn many of the children of Israel to the Lord their God. And he will go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready for the Lord a people prepared." And Zechariah said to the angel, "How shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is advanced in years." And the angel answered him, "I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I was sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. And behold, you will be silent and unable to speak until the day that these things take place, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled in their time." And the people were waiting for Zechariah, and they were wondering at his delay in the temple. And when he came out, he was unable to speak to them, and they realized that he had seen a vision in the temple. And he kept making signs to them and remained mute. When his time of service was ended, he went to his home. After these days, his wife Elizabeth conceived, and for 5 months she kept herself hidden, saying, "Thus the Lord has done for me in the days when he looked on me, to take away my reproach among people." Some thoughts to consider today. It seems rather odd to think of history being recorded in a way other than that which we practice today. But such is the case in the time of Christ. Today's history is quite different from history even 100 years ago. We're influenced by such things as statistics, which weren't available until relatively recent in history. The key is to not be unduly influenced by these in light of truth. Luke is quite probably influenced greatly by Greek culture. What Luke attempts to do has been a great service to the credibility of the Bible. His technique is one in which an independent party gathers information which is put in order. It doesn't mean that Matthew and John's accounts were less credible, or that Mark's gospel, thought to have come primarily from Peter's recollections, were not to be believed. But a Roman citizen using methods known to scholars of the day would have just the credibility that skeptics could not refute easily. This is not to say that the work of the Holy Spirit is lessened in these accounts, but nothing would be left to chance. The gospel that Luke writes is meant to reinforce those things Theophilus had been taught. Luke, being a great man of learning, for Paul says in Colossians 4:14 that Luke was a beloved physician, he knew how to find facts and use logic. Luke tells us in verse 1 that many had recounted these events before him. They had heard of these accounts from those who were actually eyewitnesses of the events they recorded. Being one who wanted to further investigate those events, Luke searches deeper. Luke was a companion with Paul, where he observed many of the things he recorded for us in the book of Acts. Just think of the dedication one would need and the time involved and sacrifices one would make in the pursuit of truth. Luke was given a gift, and he used it to the utmost so that others would know what he had found. As a result of his persistence, we have that recorded nearly 2,000 years later, and the world will have it until time shall be no more. A question of the day. Do you think you have what it takes to put together an historical account such as Luke wrote? And finally, a thought to meditate on this day. Compare Luke's style to that of the other gospel writers, and notice the nuances of style that each has. And those are our thoughts for today, March